Hi, and welcome back to the film. See, y'all, I'm trying to
I didn't do anything.
I'm trying to do something here. And what happens?
I go for a high five and you're eating corn dogs.
Corn dogs are good. Now you got me.
Bienvenido. You're listening to the Film Zealots podcast with your hosts, Sans and Chris. Episode 2. Just do it. Don't let your dreams stay dreams.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Film Zealots podcast. This is episode 2. I'm Chris. I'm sitting here with Sans and Ray. And we're here to talk about some film topic that we decided sometime last week. Today we're going to talk about changes in movies. We're all actually
changes.
We're actually all writers, so we've experienced the myriad of script changes that can happen when you're working on a project, and that made us think about different Hollywood movies that we've loved and different ways that they got changed at some point during the filming process or the editing process. Actually, during the filming process, these changes to the scripts got made that made them in some ways completely different movies. So we went to our favorite research source, Google, and pulled out some that we thought were interesting.
Before we go into the films, I have a little story. It's been in my head like for a week because it happened Sunday night. As you know, that evil event that descends upon our beautiful city every year came to a close on Sunday. The
Comic-Con?
The nerd.
Comic-Con.
Anyway.
San Diego Comic-Con.
The jewel of San Diego, Comic-Con.
Yeah, that and the Chargers. So I guess afterwards, my roommate had some people over. So I decided to put on a classic film that I love, like actually one of my favorite films ever, Night of the Creeps. I don't know if you guys have ever seen.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Great horror movie.
I have no idea.
Fred Decker. I think he co-wrote that with Shane Black. I know he co-wrote The Monster Squad. He directed The Monster Squad. It was funny because halfway through it, mind you, this is a late 80s film. There was just like a lot of tearing the film apart going on. Like, you know, oh, why is that happening? And that makes no sense and blah, blah, blah. And I just realized that nowadays, are we even programmed to like films anymore? Because it seems like everyone has something negative to say about everything.
You know what's funny about this?
What?
We were just talking about a movie. I forget what movie we were talking about. A current movie. We were talking about Prometheus, and it should be up your alley. You love Alien. You love Aliens. You're a big James Cameron guy, and your remark about Prometheus was, "I didn't hate it." To me, I was going to actually ask you, well, what was the last new film that you saw that you loved? Because I feel like there's a lot of ambivalence. There's a lot of like, eh.
Well, for one, Prometheus, that was Ridley Scott, not Cameron.
No, but I know that. But the franchise, Aliens.
But Cameron only did one.
Well,
Scott
I know.
did too. Hey, anyway, but the film that I loved, like
Last
loved,
recent film that you loved.
Define love.
Like you would buy it. Like if we were still in a world where people bought physical movies.
That world once existed.
Yeah, that you would be like, you know what? I got to get this on DVD and or Blu-ray.
Okay, this is a cop-out.
Cop out? Kevin Smith cop out?
Because it's going to be a horror film. It's probably The Witch. The Witch was pretty good.
Okay. So you liked it that much, you'd buy it.
I'd buy The Witch. But anyway, going back to my story, it just seems like, I don't know if it's the internet, I don't know if it's the millennials, I don't know if it's Generation X just getting old and bitter that they're not millennials, but it seems like there was a time where films could be absurd. Like, it's like we could tell the difference between an absurd film like Buckaroo Banzai and just a bad film like Ishtar. Whereas now any little thing is like susceptible to ridicule. That made me take a deep look at myself. And I think I'm gonna be the positive one on this podcast. I think I'm gonna like hate less. Because I feel like I hate everything. And that's not me. I'm a loving guy.
You did say you were going to bring the positivity.
I am. And that's why. Because I saw that. I was like, man, do we hate everything? So I don't want to hate everything. So anyway.
No way.
Well, I mean, like, I think you need to frame it a little bit better. You live with a film critic. Like somebody,
She was
not like
defending it. The film critic was defending it.
Oh, and it was everyone else that was just taking a big
Yeah, and I think they were
steam
younger.
shit on it.
I think they were slightly younger.
So what are they jaded by? What are they like?
I don't even know if it's that. I think it's just automatic to. I think it's just automatic.
Is it because you see
It's like
something? Period.
it's like seeing a love story, you know, directed by a guy that did a very edgy film about a teacher, but because it's a musical, you refuse to watch it.
I feel like this is a real world corollary that you're
It is.
bringing up.
It
that
is.
I just don't
Wait,
remember.
is that School of Rock?
It is it's that one trailer that Chris showed us with Ryan Gosling. And,
Oh, you're talking about the trailer for La La Land,
Yeah.
right? The La La
let
Land
the
trailer.
guy be creative. I mean, it may not
I
be
mean,
good.
I feel like I can have I think everybody here, like you two were not classically, but like your film training, like you went to school, but you didn't go to school for film, did you?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay, at KU, it's Secure KU. Okay, so we two
Don't
of us.
ruin the reputation by associating me with them.
Oh, well, two of us have film. I don't know what it was. The program there, like hands-on filmmaking, or mine was film theory.
It was film and theater.
Oh, okay.
They blended the two. Yeah, it's awesome.
And mine was film theory, and so it's hard not to look at a film and say and look for what you like about it, why you like it, but also what's wrong with it. I mean, maybe there's a difference there. Maybe there's like some nuance.
There's a difference between breaking down a film and just hating it.
Yeah,
And I think people just look for things to not like.
I feel like I do
the-
that with
the-
Chris Nolan
the-
films.
Like the 16-year-old clique, the 16-year-old girls in high school, like that clique.
Like Mean Girls.
That's what's happened.
That's
my
where
theory,
you were.
My personal theory is I think everyone thinks that they can make film,
Oh, of course.
but
Of course they do. It's so easy. I got a camera on my phone. And some people do I'll say this, some people do a really good job of doing something with doing more with less.
by some you mean 1% or less.
1% or less. Yeah, no. Like, yeah, but I mean, when the volume's that high, 1% or less could be 10 people, and that's amazing. You know?
I know. I'm not saying it's not possible.
Yeah, just most of them have shitty sound, but
Which is
That's
important.
true.
it's extremely important.
But yeah, so that's just me bringing the positivity.
Well, I'm
and-
happy somebody's got to be positive.
But I
Bring
guess
it.
going back to my childhood, as a kid, the two films I'm going to talk about are both like childhood staples. But I'm going to start with The Abyss because that was the first film. It was either that or The Burbs. Those were the two films as a kid that I could not watch enough. I don't know why. I just watched them over and
It's
over.
a really demented point of view in The Burbs. I loved that movie, too.
It's
it
just
was
great.
on all the time.
The thing I loved about The Abyss, and we were kind of chatting about this before we started recording, was it's kind of like what people liked about The Dark Knight. Because as a kid, we had a lot of fantasy films like, say, The Explorers or The Neverending Story or even The Goonies,
Mhm.
where it didn't feel like that was real world. It felt like a fantasy.
Yeah.
And then you had the stuff that was real world that was, obviously real world. The Abyss was the first film that I saw that felt like it could happen in our world, as ridiculous as it sounds. And I totally bought into it. Like, I knew it wasn't real, but I could believe the way they presented the aliens underwater. I totally bought into this could happen. Like, this world is one that I could live in. It's so funny because as a kid, I just watched it because I used to, once upon a time, I used to want to be like the next Jacques Cousteau. Like, I was obsessed with water.
Okay.
I was totally obsessed with water.
Growing
I
up
was
up in coastal Mecca.
Yeah, in Kansas City. And I was also obsessed with the Titanic. And I knew Cameron was a big fan of the Titanic. So, but I've always had like this obsession about underwater anyway. So The Abyss just totally fed into that. And as a kid, that's basically what got me through the film, was like these characters. The special effects were cutting edge at the time. But I never really paid attention to the story until I saw the director's cut. And the thing I will say about Cameron's director's cuts, at least for The Abyss, Terminator 2, and Aliens, is the scenes that he took out, when put back in, makes the film better. And the thing about The Abyss, and a lot of people don't even catch this, is are you familiar with the deleted scenes?
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not. You know what? I could use a refresher on most of the movie, to tell you the truth.
Really?
Like I remember the Ed Harris drowning
Yeah,
and then
that's a
throwing up,
popular
and then
story.
He didn't drown.
and then he doesn't he drown and then throw up, and like he's got the fluid in his
Oh
lungs.
yeah,
and,
he has like the synthetic amniotic fluid.
They think he's dead, or do they think the woman's dead?
No, that's the other
Oh,
I know the characters, but I can't remember the actress. Lindsay.
I was
is-
talking about
Mary.
the story on set where
Oh yeah, Cameron almost let him
drowned him.
drown. Yeah, that's.
Oh, he almost drowned.
Yeah, a great documentary. It's on YouTube. It's called Under Pressure. It's
Yeah.
the making of the abyss. Check
Yeah.
it out. It's really good. But I mean, the story basically is it's like a underwater oil drilling rig. So think of like the big drilling platforms you see, but submerged.
Yeah.
Which I don't think at the time actually existed. I don't know if they still exist or not. But the movie opens up with an American submarine basically crashing. It runs into, I think, a trench, and the hole is breached. It sinks. And if you remember the 80s, this is when we had beef with Russia.
Yeah.
So Cold War stuff. And all of this plays in the film. But until you see the director's cut, you don't notice it. So this team that's on the rig, they're the closest people to this submarine. So the government sends down Navy SEALs to assist them to search the submarine for survivors. Of course, no one survives at that depth because they slid down like a mile down a trench.
You just get crushed.
Yeah,
The weight of the sea
Yeah,
just crushes you.
yeah, they had no. There's no surviving that. And in the process, they discover life forms that are similar to aliens, except they're non-terrestrial. To get to the point, there's things that happen at a certain point. Once they verify that there is alien life form, one of the Navy SEALs, played by Michael Biehn, who was also Kyle Reese from Terminator, who was at that point probably my favorite actor because he was also Hicks in Aliens, so he was in like all of James Cameron's films. He gets like a nuclear weapon because he thinks that the alien technology is actually Russian technology.
Okay.
So there's a lot going on. I guess basically the storyline that I didn't notice until I saw the director's cut was that while they were down there, because remember they're underwater and there's a hurricane going on above them, so they can't. So they're stuck underwater until the hurricane blows over. While this is going on, like World War III is about to pop off.
And that plays in the director's cut only.
They mention it in the regular cut, but you don't realize how close they are until you watch the director's cut. And the difference with the director's cut is there's certain scenes in the rig where you see them watching the news, and like every channel is basically the news saying, yeah, we're on the verge of war with Russia. And the other biggest thing is at the end when Ed Harris, I don't want to ruin it, but Ed Harris eventually has to go down into a trench. It's like the deepest part of the ocean, essentially, to recover this nuclear bomb and disarm it. Check out the movie. But when he gets down there, he runs into the aliens. Yeah. And they basically make their presence known. In the original cut, he kind of sees them, and I think there's like a quick exchange. But in the director's cut, there's a longer exchange. Yeah. And he asks the aliens, because at first the alien shows him, all the news about how we could possibly go to war. And he asked them, well, what makes you think we could do that? We can change. We're not as barbaric as you think. And then the creatures basically show him footage from wars of the past. So it's basically, you've done this before, why wouldn't you do it again, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Showed him a clip of Avatar 2.
Well, I mean, yeah, right. And essentially, the big cut from that movie is the aliens cause tidal waves. I think they're like a mile high tidal waves to wash up on all the shores of all the continents, and they just freeze. And then the water goes back down. And it's kind of brilliant because if you think about it, if you're on the verge of nuking someone and the water just stands up and freezes,
makes you pause.
Yeah, exactly.
You pause, yeah.
So I know I kind of went long, but that was I just feel like that film, because it's my favorite film, and I loved it for so long. And I think I saw the director's cut maybe. I think The Abyss came out in like 88, because I know Aliens came out in 86, so it's like 88, 89. I don't think I saw the director's cut until like 94. And when I saw the director's cut, that film was made better. So I don't know, I guess that'd be a change for the worse since they took it out, but they had to for time because that's a long movie.
Yeah, it's a long movie already.
Yeah.
It was
as a lot of his films were back then.
It was 89. Here's my question. I wonder, did you ever find out why they de-emphasized that Russia plotline? Because it was the Soviet Union in 89 still, right?
It was running. It was all running time. It was all.
It's all
running
just
time.
run
That was
time?
strictly running time.
It was all running time. And the thing is, if you watch both versions, you'll understand why. Because if they kept, I mean, I guess they could have kept the Russia storyline in without showing the waves, but they couldn't have kept the tidal waves in without telling you the Russia storyline. Because if they kept it in, you'd be like, okay, so the aliens were just dicks and they wanted to scare everyone.
Right. Yeah.
But when you put it in the context of we're about to, because this is back when everyone had like too many nuclear weapons, like we wanted to just bomb the shit out of everyone.
What was after Salt and Salt 2, right?
Salt 2.
It's like that's like the treaties where they talked about
Oh.
like de-arming. It was
I was
after
thinking
the
about the movie.
after the de-arming. No, I mean
I
like
did too.
89. I was trying to contextualize it in space of when it was written though. It had to be just. I'm trying to contextualize it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to he probably wrote it in like 79.
Knowing Cameron, knowing Cameron, he probably started when he was 10. Yeah, so that's one.
No, I mean I'm just trying to reflect on what you said because I don't even remember much about the movie. I don't remember anything about the Russia storyline.
It was that good. Huh?
Have you seen the director's cut?
No,
Oh,
but I'm
that's
saying
why.
like
That's why.
yeah. I didn't remember they were welders. I thought they were explorers.
No. They were oil.
Or,
workers.
oil workers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So it's basically Armageddon.
Yeah.
Before Armageddon.
Was it? Oh, jeez.
Take that, remove that cast and put the Armageddon cast in.
And just to let you know, same producer.
Let me
Carry
see.
on. Oh, Gail Ann Hurd.
Gail and Hurd.
Yeah, she did a lot of Cameron's early stuff.
So what do you have, Chris?
I'd like to explore the ending of Pretty in Pink because it seems like something a lot of people in the culture that maybe people would qualify as nerds have always associated themselves with Ducky. Like
Why?
Ducky's like the
Why?
hero
Oh.
of this movie because he's the nice guy and all that stuff. But they shot an ending where Ducky hooked up with Molly Ringwald.
Can I interject a positive
Oh my god.
opinion of Ducky?
I didn't say he was bad.
No. I wouldn't say that he. I definitely would not say that he was bad. I just feel that the old Sands would not have liked Ducky
He's
much
practicing so much
to the point to where he'd want to choke the hell out of him. The old Sands was not a fan of Pretty in Pink.
Oh yeah. What the new Sands is?
The new Sands is willing to
Acknowledge that he
acknowledge
lives in a world
that the film exists.
and that it's brought joy to people.
Yeah. Yes. As did Twilight.
No, that's great. I mean, I remember watching Pretty in Pink. I don't know that I ever had sat through it before with a girl in my dorm, like freshman year college. You get into college and you're like, oh, there's all this whole new world
your
of people.
whole life is a John Hughes movie.
I think that it is more of a Savage Steve Holland movie, but
Okay.
like better off. Like those are my seminal kind of like growing up. I had like 3 seminal growing up coming of age movies that I loved as a kid, outside of like The Goonies and like Princess Bride and all that. But like the 3 that really spoke to me as like an adolescent were Better Off Dead and One Crazy Summer, which are both Savage Steve Holland movies starring John Cusack. Thank you very much. I don't know why I blanked on that.
He's
But,
like your favorite.
He is my favorite, which is crazy
That's
because
your
I love
favorite
him. I really enjoy John Cusack's movies
You
up
can
and
do
into.
worse. You can do worse.
Yeah, up and into I don't know what he's been doing the past like 5 years, but I always felt like that kind of there's a surreal element to them. There's like an element of the surreal in those movies, like the 2 burgers that dance when they're on a date. And I always thought that it was
Diamond Dave.
it was right.
Mojo
Oh, yeah.
Dojo.
Yeah, and skiing down the K-12. I mean, we can still drop jokes on that. Go really fast that way. If something gets you in your way, turn. Like it's an amazing like philosophy just on life. You just go fast that way. Something gets in your way, you just turn. Like, and I really connected with those movies more than anything. I don't know why. This is something for you to cut out. But no, Pretty in Pink was something that I didn't watch until that time. But I noticed that I know that it's a kind of cultural touchstone movie for a lot of people. And there's a subsect of those people that really wish that Molly Ringwald ended up with Ducky because he
Why?
was the nice guy.
Okay.
And there's just this there's this undercurrent of society that feels like, oh, the nice guy never gets represented well in movies. It's that whole friend zone thing. And I think and what I found interesting was that they recorded that. They actually went as far as to film that ending, and you can find it online. And it involves them getting together on the dance floor while a David Bowie "Rest in Peace" song plays.
They actually filmed it. You said
They actually filmed it. Yeah.
They didn't go with I forgot who did that song. If You Leave, it wasn't. If
No,
You
it
Leave?
wasn't like was that OMD?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, it's OMD.
So they went with a totally different song.
They
too.
went with David Bowie "Heroes," which is like it's a cool song,
That's
right?
a good song.
And
Wow.
and
It's like rewriting history.
it is completely rewriting history, but they hated it. Like John Cryer, who played Ducky, who should probably feel invested in that character, was like, "This doesn't work."
No, it doesn't.
No, and I found that interesting that you could get to a place where even people want it, but they tried it and it doesn't work.
Okay. Being positive.
We should just try to press Sans
When you
as
just
far as possible, like to
No.
get him to crack for positivity.
I've never been
I'm waiting for it.
I was never a fan of John Hughes.
Johnny, you didn't like any.
I didn't hate him. I couldn't relate to the people. I couldn't relate to where they lived. I couldn't relate to that life as a kid.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. But, and maybe this is just where I grew up, how I grew up. I never understood the guy that was so terrified of a girl, especially someone that he knew as long as Ducky knew whatever her name was. Looking at this film, I totally get why it didn't work. Because one, Ducky didn't have the balls to go for what he wanted. And two, she was a pretty self-absorbed female who wouldn't want someone like him. So I get why they didn't work. And I'm not saying this to belittle them. I'm just saying that's just who they were. So
She was, yeah. I mean,
those
Yeah.
characters, it would have honestly.
she was playing a 16-year-old, right?
Yeah, it would have made more sense for her to end up with the James Spader character than Ducky.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's and for you to don't know, he was the bad guy of the movie. He was a royal
Blaine?
asshole. Therefore, he was my favorite character. And when I was watching it, I always thought, because I never liked Ducky, but I always felt that if he did end up with someone in the movie, and I even feel like certain scenes alluded to it, it would have been Annie Potts, her boss.
Yeah, the boss.
But
yeah.
Annie Potts was too old because she was
Yeah.
like an adult.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
was still hot. So, damn.
16-year-olds probably still, maybe they don't, maybe they probably still like that movie. I feel like it speaks to you like those kind of movies, if you can connect with them, speak to you at a very specific time in your life. Like you can look back on it and say like, oh, I understand why that doesn't work out. But you got, as a writer, I think that somebody who's older that's able to look back and capture that kind of feeling that's pretty common amongst people is an amazing talent to have. That's positive, see?
So the films I connected with as a child was Private Resort and Police Academy.
That bonfire scene. Police
Like
Academy?
all the Police Academy movies.
Only the first. The first one's the only one that has nudity.
Yeah.
Oh man, who was the blonde, the sergeant, the sunglasses?
Oh yeah.
Baby.
So Ray, I know you have one you want to talk about. So
Well, like during my research, I ran into tons of lists, but there was one that I was so enamored with, and it was the alternate version of Pretty Woman.
Was it like the Chappelle show where she's telling them her dreams? Have you seen that?
I mean I know I've seen it because I've seen all Chappelle show,
Because
but I
they're making fun of the scene where they wake up and she's telling them like how she got into it, and the guy's just looking at her, and then when she finishes, he's like, "That's nice, but you need to get the fuck out of here."
Actually,
okay.
it's
I'ma just
kind
shut
of
up.
like that.
I'm just gonna shut up. Go ahead.
I mean, when I started reading about it, I was like, holy crap, I want to see this movie. Because it was originally a script called 3000. And
so
that...
it's about like 3,000 hits.
No, well, 3000 is like the price of the prostitute.
Price of what?
A prostitute like
Go into
her.
detail, Ray. Don't be vague.
Does your notes have like what you get for the $3,000?
Yeah, it has like everything, all the
So
bells
you
and
get
whistles.
1980s Julia Roberts. So I'm gonna throw in an impromptu, I guess, poll.
Yeah.
Young Julia Roberts or young Sandra Bullock?
Oh, that's easy. Young Julia Roberts.
Are you serious?
I don't want to be
I was
mean.
gonna say Sandra Bullock.
I don't want to be mean, but like Sandra Bullock before the nose job, not my jam. Not my jam.
I feel like Sandra Bullock's been consistent.
I'm walking off this podcast.
Throw up a still of Sandra Bullock on Love Potion #9. Just do it. It's like a completely
Sandra
different person.
Bullock's she's always done it for me.
Uh-huh.
Even in Gravity.
I don't know. Kelly LeBrock all the way. Is just,
Kelly LeBrock.
even now.
She had the better film.
She wasn't an actress. She was like a.
That's fine. That's okay.
Doesn't matter.
She hit all her marks.
Yeah.
She hit all her marks.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Okay, so Pretty Woman originally had a dark. It was a dark script, and it couldn't get made. It was actually a gritty like drama, and it was written sort of after Wall Street.
Oh.
You know, so it was kind of speaking to that.
So it was around the time of like excess.
Yeah.
So it was late
Yeah.
80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a movie more about that.
Like arbitrage. It was all about arbitrage and Jason Alexander's character.
There you go. I don't even know. You see, you're using big words, and I'm gonna take that as disrespect.
That's a movie, right? I don't think I've seen that.
I think arbitrage is when they're like in business financing. They buy distressed real estate. And
Yeah, but was it? I think there was a film called Arbitrage.
Yeah, but that was after Pretty Woman.
But essentially, it was this gritty drama about two of the worst fucking people in the world.
One was a whore,
One was one was a horror,
and the other was Julia Roberts.
It's funny, just
buzzing.
so basically, it almost sounds like Jane Fonda from Clute. I don't know if you've ever seen Clute.
Yeah.
Great film. And Gordon Gekko.
Yeah.
That'd be a good film.
So in the original script, Richard Gere had a girlfriend, so like he was essentially like cheating on his girlfriend with his hua. So they went through rewrites, and yeah, Gary Marshall felt like they should take that out because it would make his character look like he's cheating on his girlfriend. This was all in this process of turning the script into what it
Into a romantic comedy.
Yeah, into a romantic.
About
From
a very intelligent, wealthy man falling in love with a prostitute. I never bought that film.
It's a Donald Trump story.
Okay.
Trump's biopic.
Whoa.
Okay, so you guys know the ending of Pretty Woman as it stands, right?
Yes, it's beautiful.
The whole Rapunzel and
that limo with the flowers.
Oh, and then the producer Ziskin, she added that line. What does he say? He's like, "Oh, so what happens now?" And Julia Roberts says she saves him.
Oh yeah,
Because like they were playing this whole Rapunzel thing, and he's like saving her.
Rapunzel's the one with the hair, right?
I like Rapunzel and Shrek. Sorry, go ahead.
Gary Marshall saw it as like a fairy tale, but he actually didn't necessarily want it to go that way. I would almost say if it got made in the way it did, it would be like this dark fairy tale.
But who's it for? I mean, I guess like the producer in me wants to know, like, they made a movie that was a good idea, like had the kernel, like a script as a kernel of a good idea, and made it into a movie people would want to watch.
Yeah.
Like you'd want to watch that movie, but like it wouldn't do the business that Pretty Woman did, right?
I don't think it would have been as successful, I think.
Yeah.
I also read a backstory on the screenwriter. He was just writing a bunch of crazy shit just to get a job. He basically said, I was just writing a bunch of ninja movies in the 80s and nobody wanted them.
American Ninja?
I don't know.
Did he write American Ninja?
Hey, easy.
All I know is like I want to see those scripts right now.
That's sacred territory.
All the ninja movies?
That's sacred. There's only one ninja movie. Only one.
Michael Dudikoff's American Ninja?
It's the greatest ninja ever.
Well, anyway, so the ending is Richard Gere basically decides to go back to his girlfriend and leave the prostitute, but he throws the $3,000 in the gutter for her to pick up.
Pick it up off the floor!
Like it's just like
So it should have been played by Harvey Keitel. That would have been great. Pick up the money. Pick it up.
But I just I don't know. It just sounds like an interesting movie. I guess if I were to see it now, it just sounds like an interesting movie about America being this financial wasteland, and two people living on both sides of this environment in America.
You're saying that two people separated by many, but she's a $3,000 a night prostitute. I don't imagine that $3,000 a night prostitutes live a horrible life.
She eating good. That's all I know.
Yeah, she's not like if he went and got a $50 whore, or back in '89 if she was like a $25 whore, because that probably happened. Then then it's about these two people that are really separating the class divide or whatever. But really, he's a bad guy in that in the terms of if they're trying to make it like a Wall Street thing. Gordon Gekko's a bad guy, right?
Yes,
he's a bad guy in that movie, right?
Well, he's supposed to be, but he turned out to be the hero.
I mean, like to a bunch of misguided people that crashed our economy.
Yeah.
But so maybe it's just you said it's a movie about two horrible fucking people, right?
Yeah.
So I think they were both bad. What's going on?
I'm not a fan of Pretty Woman. Like, it's not like on any of my list of movies.
Yeah.
But that script I'd like to see.
Is there a deleted scene in that script where she goes in to do shopping and Hector Elizono's like, "Get out of here, you fucking whore"? Like, is
I'd watch that.
like is that
No,
does
it would
that
be
happen?
Bronson. Was it Pinchot?
Oh, Bronson Pinchot.
It's Serge.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
I think he was always in every version of the script. that character stayed.
That's awesome. I'm gonna do some rapid fire recasting. I guess we'll start with American Psycho. Do you know who was originally supposed to do that before Christian
No
Bale?
idea.
DiCaprio.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I can kind of see it.
What do you think of that Bill Simmons hot take that every Leonardo DiCaprio movie would be just that much better if it had Matt Damon in it instead?
I haven't heard that. I disagree.
I disagree too. All right.
I think DiCaprio's a very underrated actor, but I don't know. I think he's gotten to the point to where I kind of think he's like Tom Cruise. Like, I really like Tom Cruise, but I think he takes himself serious. And I think DiCaprio is kind of like that too.
Yeah, but everything you hear about Tom Cruise is like so nice. Like, he seems
Yeah,
to
but
be
he still
like,
he clearly takes himself as an actor very seriously, which there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, we live in a time where, speaking of John Cusack, I remember watching an interview like I don't know, like maybe 15 years ago now, where he was talking about as a kid his hero was Al Pacino, and he said it was so different because all he knew about Al Pacino was how he acted. All he knew was his films. He didn't know what his favorite cereal was. He didn't know who he was dating. All he cared about was that he was a great actor.
Yeah.
But nowadays, people want you to be their best friend. They want to know what you like. If you vote a certain way, they don't like you. If you drive a certain
Right.
car, they don't like you.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not. It's no longer about. And I think that's what happens with Tom Cruise and DiCaprio. It's like they're great actors, but people find other reasons to not like them, and because they don't like them, then they're not great actors.
The internet.
Like I said, hate.
Anybody who says Tom Cruise or Leonardo DiCaprio is not a great actor
There's
is
a lot of people.
full of shit.
There's a
They're
lot
just
of
I don't
people.
care. I mean, everybody who's listening feels that way.
Yeah.
You're full of shit.
Whatever.
Yeah, I never got the Tom Cruise hate. Like I've always
Scientology, man.
yeah. I think it was the Scientology thing.
Okay, and we all know about Tom Selleck as Indiana Jones, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Magnum PI. Are you guys familiar with Stuart Townsend? Last thing I can remember was he was the lead in Queen of the Damned.
Once bitten. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, he was originally supposed to be Aragon. Thank God they got Viggo Mortensen in Lord of the Rings. Do you know who Dougray Scott is? Well, he was originally supposed to be Wolverine. in X-Men.
Oh.
And speaking of X-Men, this is a big one, and this is one that's always bothered. One of the worst castings in my lifetime, in my opinion, is Halle Berry as Storm. I've
Really?
always hated Halle. Yes, because you saw the X-Men cartoon. What was Storm? She was strong. She had a powerful voice,
Yeah.
and she was right behind Cyclops. She was a leader. Halle Berry is fine. That's it. That's where it stops. Would you follow Halle Berry into battle?
I saw Mo Money. I'd probably follow her a lot of
You'd
places.
be looking at her ass, though, is what I'm saying. But you wouldn't die for her. You wouldn't expect Halle Berry to see you through. I love you, Halle Berry, if you're listening. I know you probably aren't, but you are not Storm. You are not Storm. And I remember when that film was being cast, and everybody, including myself, was saying Angela Bassett is the perfect Storm. It's like Lucy Lawless is the perfect Wonder Woman. It's like sometimes actors, it's a given. It's like this person is this character in the story. And for the longest time, I hated Bryan Singer because I was like, why did you not cast Angela Bassett? Did I tell you? I think I told you the story already, right? Bryan Singer wanted Angela Bassett to play Storm so much that she was supposed to be the lead in the film.
Oh, okay.
She was supposed to be the lead. She turned it down. 'Cause this is back when superhero films weren't
Yeah.
what they are
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So because of that, he got Halle Berry, and Wolverine got a more prominent role. So the upside is we got Hugh Jackman, because
Yeah.
I have a man crush on Hugh Jackman. I like that guy. But I'm
Yeah.
still pissed that Angela Bassett turned it down, only to turn up in Green Lantern.
Ah,
I'll
Oh,
never
yeah, that's
forgive
right,
her.
she did.
Good Lord.
I'll never forgive her.
she turned up in Green Lantern.
Yeah, she's like a scientist in Green Lantern.
I didn't
Saw what you did.
watch it. But all right, Hugh Jackman, second best comic book casting of all time. Number 1, Robert Downey Jr. There's no debating
Oh,
that, right?
comic
Oh.
book casting?
Yeah, comic book casting.
Of all time?
All time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll say, and I will say that the reason I agree with that is he's the only superhero that I feel is more interesting outside of the costume.
Oh, Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
I
Tony
think
Stark.
I'm still waiting for an interesting Bruce Wayne outside of the cartoon.
I still think Michael Keaton gave it to us.
He's the closest.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the closest.
As 80s kids, how do you feel about the resurrection of Robert Downey Jr.? I feel great about it personally.
He never went away.
I think, yes.
No, I
except for the time he
feel
was
that
in
way.
jail.
I
Like
really
when he
feel-
literally went away.
Yeah, Rob Lowe was in jail. I don't remember. He never went away.
That's true.
And Rob Lowe went to jail was way worse.
What do you do?
Oh, you know.
I don't. Did
Don't
he
know
have
about
sex
Rob
with
Lowe?
that underage
Yes.
girl?
Yes.
Oh, and everybody loves him now. He's like, he was the guy in The Grinder. I loved that show.
That makes the show
the
The
grinder.
Grinder
Yeah, think about
take
that.
a whole new meaning.
Grinder Rest.
You guys know who Lance Hendrickson is, right?
Lance.
Lance
Hendrickson.
Hendrickson, Bishop from the Aliens, the robot, the
Yeah.
android.
Yeah.
Okay.
He originally was supposed to be the Terminator, and
I think I heard.
he
about
was
this.
friends with James Cameron, and James Cameron said that the thing that made the Terminator scary, kind of like what John Carpenter did with Michael Myers, was that it could be anybody. So Cameron originally wanted the Terminator to look just like a regular guy,
Okay.
and I forgot Schwarzenegger. I don't know if he auditioned for the Terminator or for another part, but when Schwarzenegger expressed interest, Cameron was like,
Gotcha.
this is a scary guy. I mean,
Yeah.
though Schwarzenegger seems like a cool guy in person, he was an imposing presence in the film. So after that, I don't know if you remember, but Lance Hendrickson was one of the cops in the police station that gets shot up.
Oh,
So he's still in Terminator, but he wasn't the Terminator.
that's like.
But the cool thing is, he was Bishop in Aliens, so he still got to be a robot.
Yeah.
Okay. So Cameron kind of went that route with Terminator 2. Robert Patrick's a very unassuming guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Point.
true.
Good point.
Yeah.
And he was scarier.
That made him scary.
Okay, my last one, and I don't know if either one of you knew this, but this is more for you, Ray, than Chris. What now classic action movie, at least amongst me and you, Ray, was originally supposed to...
I'll just be over here.
No, you may know this.
Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
What buddy cop film was originally supposed to star John Lovitz and Dana Carvey? You know this one, right?
Rush Hour.
No.
Nope.
No.
What you gonna do?
Yeah.
What you gonna do?
Oh, Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Hey, as a UCI alumni, I can't fault anybody for wanting to cast John Lovitz.
Not for Bad Boys.
No.
That's such a totally different movie.
I want Martin and the Fresh Prince.
Have you ever seen Master of Disguise?
Yes,
Yes,
I have.
yes.
And that's a pretty bad
Turtle.
movie.
Like I said,
Yeah,
a
it's a
totally
bad
different movie.
Yes, it's awful.
I cannot see those two guys doing the stand up and the spin around shot
Well,
at all.
I can see them in
I'd be
buddy.
laughing.
I could see them in a buddy cop film. I just don't see
Yeah.
them in a Michael Bay
Yeah.
buddy cop film. Last, I'm gonna just throw in a bonus one. You guys know who the original Predator was, right?
Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was originally
Like in a
Predator.
suit, though.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see the Predator do the splits. Like when Jesse the Body is like with the minigun and then like the Predator just jumps up and does the splits between two trees. Oh my god.
Did you ever see the original design for that monster? It's
It looked a
horrible.
lot like a short Frenchman.
No, it looked totally different. They literally stopped production and redesigned the monster. And I don't know how true this is, but I think James Cameron designed it.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
I don't know how true that is, so I could be wrong. I know everyone's listening like, man, this guy just wants to blow Cameron.
All those cosplayers.
And they wouldn't be wrong.
Nah, those days are gone.
Those days are gone.
Those days are gone.
What, Avatar killed it?
Titanic damaged it. I defended that film for a decade, and
What are you? You're done defending Titanic?
I still think it's a very, very well-made film.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with the results of that movie.
But if you put his resume in front of me, Titanic's the one I watched last. I'd watch True Lies before I watched Titanic because True Lies was pure fun.
Yeah, I think, True Lies, of course.
Yeah.
My girlfriend at the time watched it, I think, 3 times in the theater, and I went with her once. And this was like, I think this was like 3 weeks out from the opening, and it was still sold out.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it was, and it was the big theater at the Mesa 7, and it had the audience eating out of the fucking palm of its hand.
Yeah.
And one thing I've come to learn as I've gotten older is sometimes things aren't for you, and I feel like Titanic wasn't for me.
That's how I feel about Sex in the City.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, like some things aren't for you,
Yeah.
like Ghostbusters. Like people have
Ghostbusters is for everyone.
no the new one, the reboot, the Ghostbusters reboot.
Ghostbusters 2?
Like I feel like no, the reboot, the new one with the all female cast.
What?
There's a movie
No.
that just came out.
All
It's
right.
directed by Paul Feig,
All right, you're...
and it's a Ghostbusters. It takes
You
the
want me to believe
properties.
that someone actually let him direct another film? Okay, you're drunk. Go.
He's a good director. I don't know.
Yes, I agree, Chris. Actually, I do like him.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. Like I felt like there's some ways where the things I don't like about it might resonate with somebody.
Well, I guess the big one for me is Gremlins. Gremlins for me is I love creature features. There's not a lot of good creature features,
Yeah.
especially nowadays.
What's the hallmark of a creature feature?
You didn't like big ass spiders?
I like that one. I like Eight-Legged Freaks better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like those films. Some people say that
What is arachnophobia a creature feature?
yeah,
Okay.
like something like that. Hell, Jurassic Park you could say was a creature
Critters.
feature. Though I think that
Critters.
was-
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, Critters, there you go.
the
Basket case?
underrated-
so basically like a monster.
The underrated munchies.
Oh,
Munchies. Oh,
oh,
Munchies.
God.
How about Ghoulies?
And yeah.
Oh, God. I used to love Munchies. That's why I'm.
They had like little trench coats.
Oh
Come
my
on.
God. Anyway, starring who? Lonnie Anderson.
Oh, even better. WKRP in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Okay, here's another.
Everyone's
fun
gonna
fact.
love our WKRP in Cincinnati reference. Everybody's
Another-
gonna get that.
Speaking of WKRP in Cincinnati, what two shows were the number one shows on television when they got canceled? That was canceled. Number one show in America, and they canceled the show. The second, Gilligan's Island.
They really?
Number
Oh.
one, and they
That
canceled.
was so good.
I was gonna say Simon and Simon.
Love all these modern day references. Gilligan's Island. Look it up. It's on TV.
Look it
Land.
up. But anyway, going back to Gremlins, I still remember watching it. It was a double feature. I think it was like on Showtime one night. I saw it after watching Little Shop of Horrors.
Mhm.
So that's what you call a double feature right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I always thought Gizmo was a cool character. I forgot his name. The Billy Peltzer character. What's her name was hot as hell.
Oh.
BB Case.
Even dressed down, Phoebe Cates was hot to me. And the thing about Gremlins for me is I know that the Gremlins were the bad guys of the film, but I actually thought the film got better once they showed up, and I actually liked them more than I like Gizmo. As much as I like Gizmo, I think the Gremlins are just better. And that film, I thought it was just a great, simple tale in a small town, and it totally captured the whole Christmas spirit. I don't know, it captured a lot of things, and it's just, to me, that's the creature feature of my childhood. That's the film. But I remember as a kid, a lot of my friends actually thought it was scary, and I could never understand why, because I always saw Gremlins through the same lens as like Dark Crystal or Labyrinth. Like I thought it was like a cooler version of that.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't a big fan of those films, but I always thought like Gremlins was like the perfected version of it, you know?
Yeah.
Later on, I found that film was originally supposed to be like an R-rated, like a hard R horror film. And like one of the big differences is the bad gremlin, whose name is Stripe, was originally Gizmo. That's who Gizmo became. And in the film, at the beginning, when the father first buys the Mogwai, he buys it from this friendly old Chinese man. But in the script, this
Why
dude
does it gotta
has
be
like
Chinese?
black teeth. Like he's just, from the jump, you know that there's something wrong with this guy.
Yeah.
He's got this creepy laugh. Gizmo in the movies, he's like dark brown like light brown and white.
Mm-hmm.
But in the script, in the original script, he was green.
Like,
Like-
right? Was he like
Kind of like how the Gremlins look in,
Oh,
in
he-
like
Gremlins 2.
reptilian and
So you're saying he
green?
bought him and he was already green?
He was already
Like,
green.
why would his kid want that?
He was
Like,
still
why-
furry.
Oh, okay.
Do you
so he
remember,
was
do you
furry.
remember
right.
how the Gremlins looked in the second one?
The little ones?
Yeah,
the cute
in the
ones, and
second
they were
one-
still like cute.
No, but they were green. Remember, they weren't brown in the second one.
Yeah, I'm colorblind, but
Oh, but they were green
Yeah,
in the
like,
second
like
one.
the googly-eyed one.
Yeah, they weren't brown. They were a different.
but they were
color.
still cute.
But they were still cute.
yeah, like furry and.
But Gizmo, even then, he was furry, and he the way they described him
Yeah.
was like Gizmo, but he wasn't nice and cute like Gizmo. He was already an asshole.
he was a furry asshole.
Yeah.
he was like he was one of those other ones.
And I guess when the Gremlins themselves, when the Mogwai transitioned into Gremlins, they were jet black with red eyes. So they were pretty creepy looking, the way they described it.
It's like your dad. Like, I'm gonna go rescue a dog. Go to the rescue shelter to get you a dog, and he picks like the worst dog.
Demon.
Yeah.
Demon dog.
Yeah.
But again, the thing is, Gizmo was still cute. He still looked the way Gizmo looked. He just wasn't friendly.
So is the dad just an idiot?
The father's similar. The way they wrote the father was similar.
Kind of like
Yeah.
aloof.
Yeah.
Was he kind of aloof?
He was,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd say so.
Huge changes. Billy's character, I can't think of someone to compare him to, but
Also an asshole.
he wasn't an asshole. He was more, I feel like he was more likable in the version that was eventually made, because in the script, he was more of like the stereotypical nerd that should have
Yeah.
moved out a few years ago. Like, he goes through half the movie with a sword killing the gremlins. It's like,
Oh,
I
in
wanna
the
see
in
that.
this. See, I actually prefer that
in
guy.
this draft. I don't know. See, that sounds cool, but he's not. I feel like in the movie, and you have to find this script and read it to understand. But I feel like Gremlins was about these just regular people dealing with these extraordinary situation, and you just like them. You don't necessarily hate the monsters, but you want the people to make it through.
I don't know about that.
You don't think so?
With the exception of the old post guy, the old postman.
So you didn't care about Billy?
I didn't give a
Or-
fuck about Billy. I
Oh,
thought he
wow,
was so
nice.
bland. Like
Really?
I thought, yeah,
Oh man,
I
you
just-
may like
Yeah.
the other version.
because I cared about the Gremlins. Like it
I
was a
agree with
Gizmo
that.
thing. It was like a Gizmo versus the other one. He never came off as somebody that was ever like sutured to.
But there's never really a Gizmo versus the Gremlins moment until the end, and even then, it just kind of forced in. Because remember, you listen to Marin,
Yeah.
listen to the interview he did with, oh god, what's the director? It's not Donner, it's Dante. I think
Dante, Joe Dante.
He was saying like a lot of the Gizmo stuff was sprung on him last minute because Gizmo was only supposed to be in the beginning.
Yeah,
So I never felt like it was a Gizmo versus the Gremlins thing at all.
maybe
Until
I
the
don't know
end.
why.
And it felt forced.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just never really associated with Billy. Like in his second one, like it's like he has him in his desk. Like he's like a fucking neglectful
Well,
owner.
we have to ignore the second one.
Carlos loves the second one.
No, I love the second one too, but I'm saying we're talking about the
Yeah.
first
Oh,
one.
we're
that
talking about the
changed
first
it.
one.
Yeah.
What, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Was it written by Robert Zemeckis still?
No, it was written by
Because I thought he wrote the script, or did he just produce the movie?
Spielberg produced it. Maybe
So-
Zemeckis produced it too. But I know it was written by Chris Columbus, I think.
Oh, right.
It was Chris
The
Columbus that
underrated
wrote it.
Chris Columbus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Phoebe
Phoebe
Cates'
Cates.
character was a blonde that had a boyfriend. It was basically, if you remember what 80s films were, it was very typical 80s film. Very typical. Like, she had the boyfriend, but she kind of liked Billy, but Billy was more like Ducky than Billy.
Yeah.
And it was just, you really were cheering for the Gremlins in this one. But the biggest change, just from reading that script versus the movie, is it is bloody as hell. Like, if you're familiar with the film, there's a point where he goes outside and they've hung the dog up on the Christmas lights.
Uh-huh.
In the script, they just eat him.
Yeah.
Well, I can see that.
The scene with the mother and all the Gremlins, they cut the mother's head off and put it in the microwave. I'm trying to think. I think they still kill the teacher. It's just bloody. And I forgot, you remember the old lady? The old lady with the chair that goes up the stairs?
Oh yeah.
I forgot what they do to her, but I know it's way worse. But yeah,
I always
eating-
laughed at that part.
Oh, because it's fun. But see, that's the thing. I feel like basically, I would say find the script and read it, because it's one of those scripts where if you read it, part of you would say, "Man, I wish they would have made this film." But if you think about it, it makes sense that they made the changes that they did, because those changes are what set it apart from other creature features. And there's a reason that you remember Gremlins like 30 years later.
So you're saying it's for the best?
I think it's for the best, but that script is awesome.
Yeah. All right. There's our theme music. I just want to thank everybody for listening.
Sorry.
If you listened to the first episode and you're listening to the second episode now,
The third will be better.
the
we
third
promise.
will be better. I think that's the plan, is to get incrementally better every single time. But we appreciate everybody who's listened so far. Share it with your friends if you like it. Tell your friends about it. Put it on your Facebook page or whatever. We're using Podbean, so shout out to Podbean. Thank you for
Thank you
the
for
free
that free
bandwidth.
account.
Yeah, thank you for that free account. Love that freemium model. Until next week, when we'll be talking about something that hopefully I'll be better prepared for. I'm Chris. That's Sans. And that's Ray. And we're the Film Zealots, and we're out.